You can't win a title with a 6'2" guy as the best player on your team. This is a quote I've seen circling around the NBA, and I guess it's kinda true. I mean, besides Steph Curry and Isaiah Thomas, it hasn't happened. But I think this is due to the fact that it's a lot harder to build around a 6'2" point guard, not due to lack of talent. The 2026 playoffs will mark a turning point for the future of these teams. After years of competing in the playoffs, there's always been something missing that they could never quite figure out. For the New York Knicks and many other Eastern Conference contenders, they believed this was their year. A year where the Pacers were out of it and the Celtics were crippled due to Jason Tatum's absence, but now he's back. The Knicks, on the other hand, were supposed to rise up and snatch the crown as the most lethal team of the conference. Instead, they've somewhat stagnated in a year marked by persistent trade rumors involving Karl Anthony Towns, and it included a horrendous 11-game stretch where they went 2-9. Towns played horrible in that span, and he got clowned on.
It's crazy because after all that,
bro, they asked me in media about you. What?
I mean, people were making fun of his voice more so than his game, but his game fell off too. After another year of running it back, time is ticking. If they don't win or progress further than before, a major change is looming around the corner. Let's take a look at 5 NBA teams that are about to shake up the entire roster, if they don't see the results they want to see.
I think you see, we're not there yet. Like I say, we're working on it. But there should be big potential.
The New York Knicks. It's been a tumultuous year in New York. The fact that they've had the second highest payroll in the entire league with almost their entire starting lineup locked up until 2028, their flexibility is non-existent. But they have faith in their team. They had faith that after reaching the conference finals the year before, they could run it back in a conference that's now weaker. They even got rid of Tom Thibodeau, who took the blame for the awful, lethargic offense that we saw every year they've been in the playoffs. So they hired an offensive mastermind in Mike Brown, widely credited for elevating the Sacramento Kings to the best offense in the league back in 2023. So the Knicks' thought process was, well, maybe this is all we need. Maybe a change of game plan and a more rejuvenated offense is the only thing keeping us from winning the title. After a mid-season conflict between Towns and the coaching staff, he seemed lost in a new offense that did not focus on him as much as Brunson and the guards. It took a while for him to get used to, but the team played better. 2026 might be the strongest version of this current Knicks roster we'll ever see. Equipped with a top 3 offense and the 7th best defense, this will be the ultimate test whether or not this roster, which they gave up so many draft picks to build, is good enough. With all eyes on Towns, historically, a lot of the blame has gone to him. He's never been a playoff riser, in fact, the opposite. His playoff numbers pale in comparison. Even back in Minnesota, he would frequently disappear and shy under the spotlight. The same happened in his first year in New York, where he was even in the MVP race early on and had arguably the best year of his life. But he could never reach the next level in the highest pressure environment. The 2026 playoffs will be a test, not just for him, but the whole team. If even a single role player like OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges perform under expectations, fans will be calling for their heads, and they'll probably be gone, especially with how much money they're making. If Towns plays poorly and they lose again, oh, you bet the discussion of him being traded for Giannis will resurface. It's all over the news before the playoffs even started. When you consider how massive all the Knicks contracts are, it'll be quite difficult to retool the roster in a single summer, but they're most certainly going to shake it up if they don't win. The Cleveland Cavaliers. The duo of Donovan Mitchell and James Harden have both made the playoffs in every single year of their career. You might have heard that before, but they're actually the only players who've been in the league for 9+ years who've done that. They're also both ringless. Mitchell hasn't even made the conference finals ever. Harden hasn't made it there since 2018. Remember the notorious Game 7, where the Rockets missed 27 straight threes to lose the game and the series? While the Cavs have made way more roster changes in recent years than the Knicks, they have the highest payroll in the entire league. Interestingly, this happens to be the first year under the new CBA where they've broken past the second apron luxury tax threshold. Meaning Cavs owner Dan Gilbert is willing to spend this much because he too believes they have a strong chance at winning the title. He's not always a cheap owner. Even back in the LeBron vs. Golden State era, they were at the top of the league in payroll. But he's meticulous with how he spends. If he doesn't feel his team can win, he won't spend. Since this is the first time of the Donovan Mitchell era that he's willing to spend beyond the luxury tax, the team needs to show results or else he'll think it's not worth it and blow it up. It's not just Mitchell and Harden though. The frontcourt duo of Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley was once considered one of, if not the best defensive frontcourt in the league. Yet the limitations of their skills have been a huge exploit in the previous years. Everyone knows both of them are incredibly passive players. They're great defenders, but they're also kinda soft. They're elite at finishing in the pick and roll, which is crucial for their guards, cause Harden and Mitchell dominate in the pick and roll. But that's it, their offensive bag is so limited with zero ability to score unless someone sets them up in the perfect spot. So when you have both on the court at the same time, you end up with Donovan Mitchell hero ball for 4 straight years in Cleveland. Have you noticed that Mitchell takes like 30 shots a game in the playoffs? Cause nobody else can get anything going? Their big men have no agency on offense by themselves. And basically, there are so many gaps in this team that haven't been resolved. It's a ticking time bomb. They need to, at the very least, reach the conference finals to convince Dan Gilbert that this team is worth paying for. The Orlando Magic. You know, I'd like to thank the Orlando Magic for providing me with endless amounts of content to talk about, and I won't get too deep this time, but there has been new information that came out. A source claims the Magic are dealing with major turmoil in their locker room, with my sources saying that a star player is willing to demand a trade if the head coach Jamal Mosley isn't fired at the end of the season. Then you had a clip of Mosley literally sniffing salt. I wonder who the star player this post is referring to. It can't be Paolo Banchero, right? The guy who literally just had a public spat with his coach a month ago, where he blamed him for making no adjustments at halftime in a loss to the Pistons. To which Coach Mosley responded, the only adjustment that Detroit made was they just played a little harder, implying that perhaps Paolo could do the same. So surely it can't be Paolo who wants him gone, right? Alright, yeah, let's not kid ourselves. It's Paolo. As you know, I've made several videos talking about basically how this era of Paolo and Franz have not worked out at all, mostly due to how bad Paolo is as a first option. The dude still has the highest usage rate on the team, even though his team plays substantially worse with him on the court. That's why they've been hard stuck as a mid-borderline playoff team for years. The front office isn't even expecting a championship or a deep playoff run. Just a first-round series win is enough to make them consider keeping this core intact. But that's very unlikely to happen with how they are. I've never seen a team that's still this young, but so discombobulated, and everyone, even their own fans, are itching to blow it up, or at least trade one of their young stars. When the team gave Paolo a 5-year, $240 million extension last summer, there were mixed feelings about that, and it leaned more towards negative. But the reason the trade rumors of Paolo were not as prominent as they could have been was because of a strange rule in the CBA. According to Josh Cornelison of the Magic Daily, quote, players who sign high-dollar rookie extensions like Paolo, making a legal trade is extremely difficult. For the incoming team, his salary is the average of his current year's salary and the annual salary of his future extension. That's a huge difference. Paolo is only making $15 million this year, but starting next season, it would progress from $41 to nearly $55 million. Basically, if they traded Paolo to another team this year, he would have eaten up a much larger percentage of the cap space, which makes any trade difficult. I guess Adam Silver implemented this as a way to incentivize teams to not trade their young star after signing him to a rookie extension. But in this case, it actually hurt the Magic, because they wanted to get rid of him. Regardless, the Magic will probably see the biggest changes of all teams during the summer. The Minnesota Timberwolves. Ever since Anthony Edwards revived the Wolves from the depths of hell, each year they made a deep playoff run, they've always hit a blockade. Despite back-to-back conference finals, they got destroyed both times in embarrassing fashion. They did make a major change, swapping Towns for Julius Randle. It was more of a lateral move, if anything. He's not strictly better or worse, he's different. He's far more capable of a passer and playmaker compared to Towns, hence why he's leading the Wolves in assists. But he's also a much worse three-point shooter. Besides this one change, which didn't really make him better, the rest of the roster has remained pretty much the same. With Mike Conley being old as hell, they moved Dante DiVincenzo to the starting point guard spot, and he's not even a real point guard. In fact, the Wolves have a massive gap at the point guard position. If Edwards had someone who can consistently set him up and help him score, because his scoring has increased again for the 6th year in a row, but most of his teammates have been the same. I'd even say the lack of a point guard is their biggest issue because they take so long to get their offense into motion. Like, when you watch them play, it looks like there's nothing going on for half the time.
Tied up at 100. And an offensive foul is...
Randle as the primary playmaker is not a permanent solution. Much like the Knicks, the main core of the Wolves roster will be off the books by 2028. But the issue remains is that this roster is not a championship-level team. They've already hit their ceiling during an era where other young teams have leapfrogged ahead of them. The Wolves aren't particularly young either. Outside of Edwards and Jaden McDaniels, the rest of this team has peaked a while ago. But they're tradable. If this is another year where the Wolves don't break through the wall, there's no way they stick with the same squad. The Los Angeles Lakers. Ever since Luka's arrival, no other team has been more critically examined than the Lakers. You end up with a season where Luka Doncic is at the peak of his prime, a ridiculous late-season surge where he put up insane numbers and the Lakers solidified their spot in the playoffs. And then he got injured right before the playoffs. So all of this was in vain, and he has nothing to show for it.
Let's hope this is nothing.
He looks like he's in a lot of pain now.
While it's unlikely the Lakers can make a real push for the title, these players he's been with might not be here in the near future. We've seen the biggest potential change, LeBron James. As an unrestricted free agent in the summer of 26, there's been heavy speculation that he's either gonna leave LA or he's gonna retire. From all the rumors, I'd be surprised if he stays on the Lakers. There's also been suggestions of trading Austin Reeves for an actual big man to play with Luka, because some have said their skill sets are redundant, but when they're on the court together, the team is actually way better than if one of them sat on the bench. I think that's a good sign that they can play together. Then comes their supporting cast of role players, many of whom have been here for years, but their progress have stagnated. They too are in danger of seeing their time in LA come to an end. The crippling late-season injury has once again sabotaged another year for Luka and the Lakers. And with another early exit looming in the distance, this team, a year from now, will look nothing like it does now. They're on the verge of rebuilding from scratch to surround Luka with a brand new supporting cast. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Anyway, that's all folks. Can you see any of these 5 teams keeping their core intact if they're still stuck in the same spot and don't make much progress in the playoffs? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.